Are you constantly feeling drained by the people around you? Have you ever found yourself questioning your worth or doubting your decisions because someone in your life is being negative or manipulative? If you have ever had to deal with toxic people, you know just how exhausting and frustrating it can be. You try everything you can to stay calm and positive, but no matter what they do or say, they seem to suck the energy right out of you and leave you feeling defeated. Here's the hard truth though. You don't have to tolerate that. You don't have to let toxic people control your emotions or your life. In fact, the smartest people don't let that happen. They know exactly how to handle toxic individuals and protect their peace. And you can do the same too. You might be wondering, how do I deal with toxic people? How do I keep my peace intact when there's always someone trying to undermine me or tear me down? Well, in this script, I'm going to show you exactly how smart people deal with toxic individuals. Whether in their personal lives or in the workplace, you will learn how to identify toxic behaviors, how to set clear boundaries, and most importantly, how to stop letting toxic people control your emotions and your life. There is no need for you to keep suffering from negative energy. You can take control of your situation and start reclaiming your happiness. It all begins with understanding what toxic behavior looks like and what happens if we ignore it. Let's get into it. You probably know by now that toxic people come in all shapes and sizes. They might be the colleague who constantly undermines your ideas, the friend who only reaches out when they need something, or the family member who knows how to push your buttons and make you feel small. These people are not just annoying. They are emotionally draining over time. Their behavior affects your mental health and your self-esteem. Toxic behavior can manifest in many ways, but there are a few telltale signs you should watch for. Manipulation is one of the most common traits. Manipulative people make you feel guilty or responsible for things that are not your fault. They twist your words and actions to make you feel like you owe them something when you disagree. They act like victims and try to make you feel bad about yourself. Then there's the person who is constantly negative, always complaining and criticizing. No matter what you do or say, you could tell them the sun is shining, and they will find a way to point out the clouds. These people feed on negativity, and they want to bring you down with them. Another form of toxic behavior is selfishness. Some people are so focused on their own needs and desires that they don't even stop to consider how their actions affect others. They might take advantage of your kindness or constantly expect you to cater to them without ever reciprocating. They don't value your time, your energy, or your well-being. And finally, there's emotional volatility. Toxic people can switch from being friendly to hostile in the blink of an eye. 1 minute they're acting like your best friend, and the next they're throwing accusations or creating unnecessary drama. This kind of behavior is not only draining, but also unsettling. It keeps you on edge, wondering when the next emotional outburst will happen. Now that we know what toxic behavior looks like, let's talk about the consequences of ignoring it. If you let toxic people stick around and continue to influence your life, they will eventually take their toll. The first thing that suffers is your emotional health. Being constantly surrounded by negativity and manipulation can lead to anxiety, depression, and emotional burnout. You start questioning your own worth because they make you feel inadequate and unworthy. You begin to doubt your abilities, your achievements, and even your relationships. The next thing that suffers is your mental clarity. When you're always worried about how someone will react or trying to manage their moods, it becomes hard to focus on what matters. You lose sight of your goals and priorities because you're too caught up in the drama surrounding the toxic person. Eventually, this starts to affect your productivity and your personal growth. Your relationships will also be impacted. The more time you spend with toxic people, the more your other relationships suffer. You may find yourself isolated because toxic people tend to push away those who try to protect themselves. They may even manipulate you into choosing them over others. It's a cycle that keeps you stuck and feeling helpless, and if you don't address it soon, you might find yourself at a breaking point. You might reach a point where you're so emotionally exhausted that you can no longer function at your best, or worse, you might start adopting some of their toxic behaviors yourself. It can be hard to break free from these patterns, but it is absolutely possible. The first step in breaking free is understanding that you have the power to take control of the situation. Smart people don't let toxic individuals dictate their lives. Instead, they set boundaries, detach emotionally, and prioritize their well-being if you want to stop feeling like a victim of toxic people. You need to shift your mindset. The most important shift is realizing that your happiness and peace are non-negotiable. No one has the right to disrupt your emotional state. You are the one who gets to decide who and what gets to influence your energy and your mood. Once you accept this, you will start to feel more empowered. You won't feel like you're at the mercy of others' behavior. Instead, you'll take full responsibility for your emotional health and well-being when you stop giving toxic people power over your emotions. You'll also find it easier to set clear boundaries. Setting boundaries is key to protecting yourself from toxic people. If you don't define what is acceptable and what is not, they will walk all over you. They will push your limits and take advantage of your kindness and patience. You have to learn how to say no and stand firm in your decisions. It's okay to put yourself first if someone is being disrespectful, manipulative, or harmful. You have every right to cut off or limit contact with them. In fact, by setting these boundaries, you are not just protecting yourself, you're also showing that you value yourself and your time. Learning to say no without guilt is one of the most important skills you can develop in life. Setting boundaries might be uncomfortable at first, but the more you practice it, the easier it becomes. You'll start to feel stronger, more confident, and more in control of your own life. Another important principle that smart people understand is the power of emotional detachment. Emotional detachment means not allowing someone else's behavior to affect your emotional state. It doesn't mean you stop caring about the person or their well-being, but it does mean that you stop letting their negativity or manipulations control your feelings. When you practice emotional detachment, you are able to stay calm and rational no matter how chaotic or dramatic the other person becomes. This doesn't mean you ignore the issue or pretend that it doesn't exist. It simply means you refuse to allow it to hijack your emotions. Instead of reacting out of anger or frustration, you respond from a place of calm and clarity. This will allow you to stay in control of the situation and avoid being dragged into unnecessary drama. One of the most powerful things you can do when dealing with toxic people is to distance yourself whenever possible. Limit your interactions with them if they are family members or close friends who you can't avoid entirely. Then keep your distance emotionally. You don't have to share everything with them or engage with them in ways that allow them to manipulate you. Keep your conversations brief and to the point. Don't allow them to pull you into their drama or start arguments. The more space you create between yourself and the toxic person, the less influence they will have on you. And don't forget to protect your emotional energy. Focus on spending time with positive, supportive people who lift you up. You deserve to be surrounded by love, respect, and encouragement. Now that you know the steps you need to take to protect yourself from toxic people, let's talk about how to overcome the challenges that will inevitably arise during this process. When you first start setting boundaries and distancing yourself from toxic people, you may feel guilty. It's natural to feel this way, especially if the person you're distancing yourself from is someone you care about. But remember, this is about protecting your peace. It's not about being selfish or heartless. It's about ensuring that you are mentally and emotionally strong enough to handle your own life and responsibilities without being dragged down by negativity. You can still care for people and love them without letting them destroy your sense of self. You might also face the fear of confrontation when you start setting boundaries. Toxic people won't like it. They will try to make you feel bad about your decision. They might accuse you of being selfish or unreasonable, but it's important to stand your ground. Don't let them manipulate you into going back to old patterns. Be firm and compassionate at the same time. You don't have to be rude or cold. You can be kind and firm in your decision to protect yourself. The fear of losing relationships can also be a challenge. Many people fear that distancing themselves from toxic people will cause them to lose relationships entirely. But here's the thing: you will lose relationships that weren't truly serving you anyway. True relationships are built on mutual respect and understanding. If someone can't respect your boundaries and treat you with kindness, then they are not a friend worth keeping. The people who really care about you will understand your need to protect your peace, and they will support you in doing so. Once you begin to implement these changes, you'll start seeing results. You'll feel lighter, more energized, and more in control of your life. You'll start to experience emotional freedom because you will no longer be weighed down by toxic people's behavior. Your relationships will become healthier and more fulfilling, and most importantly, You'll be able to focus on your own growth and happiness. You might even look back and realize that you've gained so much more than you ever expected. By cutting ties with negative people, you've gained a deeper sense of self-respect, a stronger sense of personal power, and the ability to create the life you truly want to live. Smart people understand that life is too short to waste on toxic relationships. They know how to set boundaries, protect their emotional energy, and prioritize their own well-being. It's time for you to do the same. The moment you decide to take control of your life and stop allowing toxic people to drain your energy, you'll start living a more peaceful, fulfilling, and empowered life. So go ahead and take that first step. Set your boundaries, protect your peace, and never let toxic people control your happiness again.